Today I'm going to be dehydrating potatoes. Why would you ever want to dehydrate potatoes? It's not something that takes a long time to prepare. It's not hard, so why would you dehydrate? It's all up to you as to why you want to dehydrate potatoes or not. It can be for emergency preparedness, to always have potatoes available if you like them. It can be because you just like to have those potatoes that you can rehydrate and use in a recipe. Or maybe you went to the store, there was a great sale on potatoes, and you decided that you had way too many and you wanted to dehydrate them to avoid wasting any. Whatever your reason is, it's always great to have on hand. It's really simple to do, just a few steps. It takes a little bit of time in the dehydrator, maybe somewhere around 12, 15 hours. It depends on your dehydrator, but the end results are worth it. I have this book. It's called So Easy to Preserve. I absolutely love it. Unfortunately, it's not available here in Canada. I had received this when I had taken a class on canning, and this is one of the books that they had given to us. I even contacted them to see if I could have like 10 books shipped and maybe I'd sell some, but they wouldn't even ship any to Canada. So if ever you go to the States and you go to a library or something, maybe you can order yourself a book if they happen to have any there. So the reason why I like this book is because it has everything on pressure canning, water bath canning, dehydrating. It's a book that has everything. This is what I use a lot when I'm doing some dehydration, because it really tells you specifically per vegetable, per fruit, how to prepare it. Love this book. The first step in preparing your potatoes is I'm gonna start by peeling them. You don't necessarily have to peel them, but for my use, for what I'm gonna use this for, I prefer peeling the potatoes. So I'm gonna start with that. Once you have all your potatoes peeled and washed, make sure that you keep them in a bowl with cold water, supposedly covered, all covered in water. Mine are a little bit out of water, but I'm going to do this quick and make sure that they're in some cold water so they don't turn brown. You don't want your potatoes to turn brown. It just doesn't look as appealing. So you can prepare your potatoes in different ways. So you can either slice them or like 1/8 of an inch thick, or you can even do them like a shoestring or even in chunks. So I'm going to slice them, and I'm going to be doing it using a mandolin just so I can get more uniform size slices and it'll dry more evenly. So let's start slicing. To try to come out of this with all body parts intact. You want to make sure to not leave your sliced potatoes out of the waters. Continue slicing and put them in another bowl of cold water. Again, this is to prevent them from turning brown. Now, the quantity of potatoes that you're going to use is completely up to you. It depends on how many shelves you have on your dehydrator. I like to always maximize what I'm doing and fill up as much space as I can. So once you've got all your potatoes sliced and waiting in water, in cold water, you're going to prepare a pot of boiling water because we need to blanch our potato. The blanching of the vegetable kind of neutralizes the enzymes inside your vegetable, makes for a nice, better end product. Blanching is essentially just dipping your vegetables in boiling water for a certain amount of time. Potatoes, it's recommended 5 to 6 minutes, but it's going to depend as well. You want to keep a close eye on them because they get kind of translucent when they've been blanched long enough. So you don't want to overdo it either. You don't want to cook them. And you also want a bowl of cold ice water beside it, because as soon as you're going to be scooping them out, you're going to be dropping them in the ice water. Now remember, you don't want to drop all your potatoes in at once, because it has to start boiling again within a minute or two, otherwise you're cooking your potatoes. So you just do them in small batches and you work your way through all of your potatoes. Now I'm trying to be as efficient as possible in this process to make everything go a little bit faster. So I have my dehydrator trays right here beside my stove. I've got my next batch blanching in the water, waiting for it to come to a boil. And I have my potatoes here blanched in the ice water. You don't want to leave them in the ice water too long. So I think they're just about ready. So I have them right next to my dehydrator trays. So as I take them out of the water, I'm just going to let them drain a little bit, and I'm going to put them immediately in my trays. Now, I will spread them out a little bit better than that, but just to get it done quick. Once you have your potatoes on your trays, you're going to want to spread them out. You don't want them touching at all. You don't want them overlapping. So just make sure that you spread them out nice and evenly. The better you spread them out and space them out, the quicker they'll dry. Don't know if you can see, but this one was blanched and this one wasn't. So this one is kind of more translucent. I don't know if you can catch that, but this is what we're looking for. I am very happy to report I have all 6 trays of my dehydrator filled with my potatoes. So I have those 3 trays and these 3 trays. I'm going to put the cover on. Now my machine doesn't have an on-off button, so as soon as I plug it in, it starts. So I want to set the temperature first. So these are vegetables. My dehydrator is very convenient. For the vegetables, I have a setting, and it's around 135 degrees Fahrenheit or 57 degrees Celsius. Now all that's left is to plug this in and let this run until they're nice and crisp. Now they're not going to be crisp like potato chips. It's not going to be the same thing, but they have to be very crisp. Any moisture that's left in them and they will go bad. So I'm going to plug this in and we'll check back probably sometime tomorrow to see how the potatoes have turned out. Okay, time for an update. Time to show you how my dehydrated potatoes turned out. So I was quite excited. I was quite happy because they dehydrated a lot faster than I was expecting. So I put them on around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was expecting them only to be done in the next day. But by the time I went to bed, like 8 hours later, they were pretty dry. So I turned them off for the night. I didn't want them to be too dry. And then the next morning, checked them, put them on maybe for another hour just to make sure they were completely dry, and that was it. So I'm looking at maybe 9 hours total time to dehydrate these potatoes. So let me show you how they turned out. So as I said, they're not chips. They won't be crispy like chips. It's kind of like almost like a pasta texture to them. But if you look at this and listen, oh, they really turned out nice and crisp. Like that's like perfect dryness for your dehydrated potatoes. Listen to that. So excited. So that's it. I am going to store these in a mason jar, and all you need to do is to put them in a dry environment, a dark, cool, dry environment, no moisture, because you don't want moisture getting into your potatoes. Now, if you do check out my channel, I will be trying to put out a video soon on a recipe to make with these dehydrated tomatoes. So be sure to look out for that. If you do like my channel, if you enjoy my content, don't be shy, give it a big thumbs up, and be sure to check back again soon to see what other content I will have coming out.